Christmas dinner, my dad said, "You're a burden. You can't live with us anymore." When I packed up and told them I'd stop paying the bills, my dad, at first I thought I misheard. My mom gave this nervous laugh, like maybe he was joking, but he just sat there staring at me, waiting for my reaction. The room went silent. My sister Lily froze, her fork halfway to her mouth. She looked at me with wide eyes like she couldn't believe what she'd just heard. I swallowed the piece of ham I was chewing and put my fork down. "What? You heard me," he said. "You're no longer welcome here. You need to move out." I just sat there trying to process. I'm 23, have a steady job, could have moved out years ago, but I stayed because they needed me. I paid the electric bill, the internet, groceries most weeks, things they couldn't afford because my dad had been unemployed for years and my mom only worked part-time. I wasn't a burden. I was the reason the lights were still on in that house. And now, out of nowhere, I was being kicked out like some useless freeloader. Mom finally spoke up. "Maybe we should talk about this later." But Dad interrupted. "No, Ed, this is my house. I make the rules and I say he's done here." Lily put down her fork. She was only 16 and I could tell she was scared. She stared at our parents like she didn't even recognize them. If they could throw me out so easily, what did that mean for her? I took a deep breath. I wasn't going to argue or beg. If they wanted me out, fine, but they weren't ready for what that really meant. I leaned back in my chair. "All right," I said. My dad sat up straighter, like he'd won some imaginary battle. My mom still looked uncomfortable, but she didn't say anything. Maybe she was in shock, or maybe she just didn't care as much as I thought. I stood up, grabbed my plate, and carried it to the sink. I didn't want to give them the reaction they wanted. Instead, I looked at Lily, who was still sitting there, tense and confused. I gave her a small nod. She was the only one at that table I still cared about. Dad took a sip of his drink like nothing had happened. Mom went back to picking at her mashed potatoes. Lily kept looking at me like she wanted to say something, but she didn't. I didn't stay to finish dinner, just walked out. I went straight to my room, closed the door, and started packing. I wasn't going to waste time trying to understand why they were doing this. If they wanted me gone, I was gone. But that also meant they'd lose everything I'd been paying for, and I wasn't going to warn them. I packed in silence, but I could hear them talking downstairs. My mom's voice was low and scared. My dad's was firm, like he was trying to convince her of something. I caught bits and pieces. "He's old enough. We can handle it. He should have moved out years ago." An hour later, there was a knock on my door. I opened it and Lily slipped inside, quickly shutting the door behind her. Her eyes were red and puffy. She'd been crying. "Are you really leaving?" she whispered. "Yeah," I said. "I don't have much choice. Can I come with you?" That broke my heart. "You're 16. They'd call the cops. But the second you turn 18, my door's open." She hugged me tight. "I hate them for this." "Don't," I said. "Just remember who was here for you." I left that night. Didn't say goodbye to them. Just grabbed my stuff and drove to a friend's place. 3 days later, my phone exploded. Mom. 3 days later, my phone blew up. It was Mom first. A bunch of texts starting cautious and quickly turning into panicked begging. "Id, the electric bill is due. How do you usually pay it? Id, the internet got cut off. I can't work. Do you have the customer service number? Sweetie, please call me back. Your dad. We need to talk." I put my phone on silent. And watch the screen light up again and again. I could practically see the chaos in that house. My dad trying to act like everything was fine, my mom completely lost. They were finally realizing that kicking out their burden didn't just free up a room, it left a massive financial hole they had no way to fill. I didn't reply. I got settled in my friend's spare room, called my bank, and canceled all the automatic payments for that house. I closed my old account and opened a new one. Every step felt cold and methodical, even to me. This wasn't about revenge. It was a clean break, a necessary one. Couple of days later, the calls stopped and the voicemail started. Mom's voice was shaky with tears. The power company sent a final notice. "They're shutting it off next week. We can't pay it. Your dad's unemployment check isn't enough." In the background, I could hear my dad grumbling, but couldn't make out the words. He still hadn't reached out himself. His pride or his stubbornness meant he'd rather sit in the dark than talk to me. I instantly Venmo'd her some cash, told her to get herself food, and reminded her to keep the phone hidden. "Just hang in there a little longer," I told her. I wasn't entirely sure what a little longer meant. Maybe part of me was just waiting for the other shoe to drop. It happened on a cold Tuesday night. My mom's name flashed on my screen. I took a deep breath and answered, but didn't say anything. "Id." Her voice was hoarse and desperate, barely a whisper. "Id, please say something." "I am listening," I said, my voice flat and cold. She broke down sobbing. "We were wrong. We were so wrong. Your father, he had no idea it would be this bad. The power's off." The same voice that had been so cold and final at Christmas dinner now sounded tired, defeated, and held a hint of something I'd never heard from him before. "Pleading." "Son," he began. The word felt empty. I stayed silent. He struggled to find the words. I didn't think it would be like this. I thought we could handle it." He took a breath. "Your mother's right. You were never a burden." I'd waited years to hear it, but hearing it now in this desperate phone call, it didn't bring any relief. It just felt hollow. My mom's voice cut back in, sounding utterly broken. "What are we supposed to do? We're going to lose the house." I closed my eyes. A lifetime of memories flashed by. My dad carrying me on his shoulders, my mom in the kitchen, Lily as a toddler, and then the Christmas dinner, the fork frozen midair, and my father's icy stare. "I am not coming back," I said, my voice firm. "I am not paying another bill for that house. It is your house, your problem." There was nothing but dead air on the other end. "But," I continued, my tone leaving no room for for argument, because Lily is still a minor and living there. I won't let her live in the dark and cold. I laid down my one and only condition. I will pay for the most basic electricity and internet plan, and that is it. Only until Lily turns 18 or moves out. Do not contact me again unless it is about Lily. I hung up. My hand was steady. Inside, I just felt numb, like the ashes after a fire. I kept my word. The next day, I called the utilities and reinstated the bare minimum service. The payments came out of my new account. I never had to see a bill from that address again. Months later, Lily told me Mom had found a full-time job and Dad was doing odd jobs here and there. They were struggling, but they hadn't lost the house. That house, because I left and only threw them the smallest lifeline, was finally forced to stand on its own, even if it was wobbly. A year and a half later, on her 18th birthday, Lily showed up at my apartment door with a suitcase. I had my own place by then. We hugged. We didn't need to say much. After she moved in with me, I cut that last financial tie for good. My phone never rang with a call from my parents again. Sometimes, late at night, I think about that Christmas dinner, about him calling me a burden. Now I think I get it. Maybe it wasn't an accusation. I shut that door behind me, not because I wanted it to open again, but because the road ahead was finally mine. The weight was gone, and I was finally free.